across the heart of Cowboys country. It's your opportunity to ask questions to Cowboys insider Mickey Spagnola. This is Silver Star Nation Interactive.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Wes Moore. Thank you for joining us for our first Silver Star Interactive. We'll be doing this every Tuesday at 3 o'clock during the Cowboys football season. Joining us from the Star in Frisco is Mickey Spagnola. Mickey, welcome. History for us, the first Silver Star Interactive.
Good to be with you. Good to have a little more Cowboy talk with you guys.
You can always jump in here and ask Mickey a question. Use the hashtag AskMickey on Twitter. Hashtag AskMickey. All right, I'm going to do the question asking today, or until we get our first questions, Mickey. Let's start with the bright spots. Cowboys obviously lost Carolina in week 1, 16-8, but there were some bright spots. I thought the defense played really well, Mickey. What did you think of the defense and the way they were able to contain Cam Newton and the Panthers' offense?
I thought once they kind of adjusted to Cam running the football the way he did the first quarter and a half or so, I thought they played awfully well. Wes, you know, in the National Football League, anytime you're able to hold your opponent to no more than 17 points, you give yourself a chance to win every time out. I thought they did a good job of doing that, number one. Number two, getting pressure on Cam Newton. He's not an easy person to bring down. They ended up with 3 sacks. They had a bunch of quarterback hits. I thought the secondary played awfully well. They didn't leak any big plays. The problem the Cowboys had was, first, Cam Newton running the ball and then trying to figure out where McCaffrey was going to be. But still, they created a takeaway. I mentioned the sacks, the quarterback hits, tackles behind the line of scrimmage. The fact that they had the Cowboys 1 possession away from being back in the game, I think was rather remarkable, and a pretty good job on a quarterback that's hard to contain.
Held Carolina to 16 points, held them to under 300 yards. I think Cowboys, or most NFL teams, can win a lot of games if they can hold a team to 16 points. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Now, the problem is you got to score more than 8. But from a defensive standpoint, I thought that was basically a continuation of what we saw in training camp, what we saw in preseason, especially with a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, who about took over the game. The guy had 7 tackles, 3 of those for losses, a sack, a forced fumble, a recovered fumble. You couldn't have asked anything more from him. And for those out there who were wondering, you know, was DeMarcus Lawrence a one-hit wonder last year with 14.5 sacks? I think he answered that right out of the box, that I'm for real.
Ask Mickey. That's the hashtag if you have a question for Mickey Spagnola. Mickey, let's go to the offense. You mentioned the offense. It was a struggle for most of the day. How much do you blame the rust, maybe a lack of preseason on what we saw?
Well, I think a little bit, and I think if you look around the league, there was a lot of teams that struggled offensively, and it wasn't just the Cowboys. I think I figured out if you take away 3 teams that had returns for touchdowns that got them over 21 points, there were 18 teams in the league that didn't score any more than 21 points. So from an offensive standpoint, I think this idea of, you know, we got to keep our guys healthy, and I understand that, and there's merit to it, but we don't want to expose them in preseason games, and games don't mean very much. And then you got to start the season, you know, and you don't get to start against Tennessee Martin. You know, you're right in there, into the fire, and you better be ready to go. And I think there was a lot of rust shown around the league. I mean, all you had to do was watch the Giants game against Jacksonville, the season opener, Philadelphia and Atlanta. I just think that teams weren't ready offensively to get going. And, you know, if you look at quarterback ratings, and I think Dak's was 18th, right? There were 16 quarterbacks that had quarterback ratings fewer than him, and some of them were named Stafford and Ryan and Roethlisberger. So this wasn't just the Cowboys. It was almost like league-wide teams were having trouble offensively.
You know, Mickey, the schedule makers didn't do the Cowboys any favors. It's not like they got a cupcake in week one. Going to Carolina on the road, a playoff team with a very good defense, and that's a tough place to win, even if you have a great offense. Anyway, I just thought it was a tough matchup for week one for Dallas.
Yeah, you know what? And the strange thing of the whole deal, Wes, was the fact that it was 16-8. You know, you sit there and go, God, the Cowboys just stunk it up on offense. And they were one possession away from getting back in the game and tying it up. So that was the remarkable thing about that game. But you're right. That was a tough opponent. And, you know, I don't know if you weren't totally healthy or you were totally healthy, if you were capable of going down there and actually beating Carolina at their place. You know, I said in my column on Friday when I was trying to make a kind of a season prediction, I said, don't expect this team to get off to a 5-0 start. This team's probably going to grow before your very eyes. Now, how fast it grows, I don't know. The potential is to grow and be a pretty darn good team. But they're going to have some growing pains, and I think we saw it right off the bat.
Mickey, there were a lot of new pieces, and they were missing a lot of old pieces. Who did they miss the most?
Oh, I would start with Travis Frederick. You know, if that offensive line is intact the way they would like it to be, I think it would have been a better offensive performance. And this is nothing against Joe Looney, mind you. I thought he did a good job, an okay job filling in at center. But again, you're talking about the Pro Bowl center, one of the best centers in the National Football League, and then a backup. So the span between him and between Travis Frederick and Joe Looney is great. And I just think they sort of missed his ability to not necessarily make the blocks and everything, but just kind of settle everybody down, make all the calls, get everybody in the right spot. And then when you mix that, he's missing. I don't know that La'el Collins had one of his better performances, and Tyron Smith has a couple penalties early in the game, and you expected Connor Williams to have some growing pains as a rookie moving from tackle in college into guard, where I remember asking Zach Martin during training camp, because he basically did the same thing. He went from tackle at Notre Dame into playing guard for the Cowboys in the National Football League, and he said, you know what the biggest difference is? Suddenly I'm playing against grown men. I'm not playing against a 19-year-old kid. I'm playing against a grown man. And I think Connor Williams probably found that out in several instances.
All right, Mickey, let's get to Dak. Struggled on a couple of throws, may have missed some open receivers at times. What's the word at the Star about Dak, the feeling in game one?
Well, not good enough, and certainly he would tell you that. But a lot of times you have to understand he was throwing on the run. The protection wasn't great. Got sacked 6 times, and they couldn't run the ball. So other than that, hey, Dak, go, let's go. Get out there and do it. And you're exactly right. It hurt that he missed a couple open wide receivers. But you know what? No quarterback in the NFL goes 25 for 25. You're going to have a bad throw here and there. Unfortunately, his got magnified because they weren't moving the ball. And then when he short hops Blake Jarwin, who's wide open, then it's like, oh, he's inaccurate. Well, he was also throwing the ball on the run because he got forced out of the pocket. And, what he should have done is set his feet and then thrown the ball. And he tried to throw it off his back foot as he was moving, and he got nothing on it. He missed Beasley on another one that he was wide open, and he just missed him. Well, that happens. But, again, when you're not moving the football, you don't dismiss that. Like, most quarterbacks, if they end up 20 for 29, 20 for 32, and you're saying, okay, that's all right, and you didn't throw any interceptions. I made everybody laugh today. I said, as bad as it was, he wasn't the Highland Park quarterback that got intercepted 4 times, Matthew Stafford. So I think there's room for improvement there, and I think it'll help him, going back to kind of where we started, that he's seen things for the first time in 3 weeks, and that'll help him, I think, see what's going on all around the field.
Cole Beasley had 7 catches, 73 yards. Was that the highlight for you on offense?
Well, that was my guy we picked at the beginning of the, sort of the end of training camp, and we were trying to pick who's going to be the Cowboys' leading wide receiver. And my guy was Cole Beasley. So I'm 1 for 1 when it comes to games right now. And you can see, you know, he can run routes, he can get open. Now some of the other guys have to chip in too. And that includes Dak making sure that he's seeing the field when guys are open. He had Michael Gallup wide open on a crossing route and missed him. But by the way, Michael Gallup, you just keep an eye on him. You know, Jason Garrett was talking about on Monday Givens, like we got to have plays that we know will work no matter what. Well, Michael Gallup on that slant pass, I think, is going to be one of the staples of their offense.
You're watching our first ever Silver Star Nation Interactive. We've got Mickey Spagnola with us. We'll do this every Tuesday at 3 o'clock. If you got a question for Mickey, you can always use the hashtag #AskMickey. All right, I got a question for you, Mickey. What was it like for you not being at a stadium, watching the game on TV for the first time since 1988?
You know what? It was the most frustrating thing I think I've gone through. Now, I've done it in preseason when I couldn't get to a preseason game. But for a regular season game, I almost felt sorry for the fans because the advantage we get when we're at the game, we see the whole field. I see all 22 players. I can see everything I need to see. When I'm at the mercy of the TV, I got to follow the ball. So it's hard for me to see who's in, who's out, what packages they have in, where the players are lined up, and then most of all, what's going on downfield with the wide receivers and the secondary. So I had a little empathy for the fan out there that sometimes calls in and they ask a question and it's like, well, what are you watching? Well, they're not. They can't watch it. There's nothing like being at the game to watch a football game.
Sunday night, it's the Cowboys and the Giants. I hate to say must win, but if you look at the statistics, teams that go 0-2, the chances of going to the playoffs drop dramatically. This is a big game, isn't it?
It's a big game for both teams, right? Because one of them's going to be 0-2. Now, I can take you to 93 when they went 0-2. Probably a little bit more talent on that team when they went on to win the Super Bowl. But no, you're exactly right. And if anybody watched the entire Giants game, you know, they certainly weren't a ball of fire themselves. They had a hard time protecting Eli Manning. As a matter of fact, it got to the point where they had to roll him out of the pocket to give him some space to throw the football. So we'll see if the Cowboys can take advantage of that Giants offensive line that struggled. And you better, because somehow, some way, Eli will find his receivers downfield, which he certainly did. Odell Beckham Jr. Put on a show, but you know what? They kept him out of the end zone, and that was the important thing.
Mickey, it's only one game, and as we discussed, it was at at Carolina, tough opponent. How do you feel after watching one Cowboys game?
You know, it wasn't a good one by any means, but I still think I still believe in what I saw in preseason and training camp that this team does have some talent, and the thing they got to do is execute, not get behind the change the way they did in those first 4 series of the game. It was almost like you just gave away 4 series when you got yourself into 2nd and 17, 2nd and 15, 3rd and 12. It's hard to play offensive football when you make mistakes like that.
There he is, Mickey Spagnola. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Okay, Wes, that was fun.
All right, remember, use the hashtag #AskMickey for questions for Mickey Spagnola next week. We'll be back with our second Silver Star Nation Interactive next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday.